you on the fast track to burnout? The good news is, if you are, there's a way to get off that path without losing profit. I'm your host, Brittany Long, and today we're going to be talking about how to use AI to combat burnout. But before we even get to that, there's something else that's important that we need to talk about: your identity. If you struggle to come up with your bio that includes anything except for work, that's a sign that maybe too much of your identity is in the work that you do. Now, I have good news. You are so much more than the work that you do. But I often see entrepreneurs getting burnt out because their entire identity, or almost their entire identity, is wrapped up in the work that they do. And so instead of having hobbies, they think, if I work just a little bit harder right now, then I'll be able to do hobbies later on. But the problem with that is that there's always more work coming in. And we'll show you some ways to combat that, but there's always more work coming in. There's always more things you could do. There's always more ideas that we have as entrepreneurs. So how do we get out of this cycle of always working and putting off being that holistic person until later? Step one, find one thing that you like that is not related to making money at all. Now, if you're like me, this might be a little bit challenging. At first, I had a really hard time figuring that out. Now, not so much. I know that I like to paint. I know that I like to try new instruments. I know that I like to go for walks and exercise. I know that I like to write just for fun. But when you feel like you have so much to do, it can be a little overwhelming to think, I'm going to stop in the middle of the workday and paint a picture. It seems almost irresponsible. But the truth is, I actually get more done when I do take breaks, when I have hobbies, when I sleep in a little bit sometimes, when I go for walks, than when I am trying to be a workhorse all day long. And I bet the same is true for you too. So step one, let's look at some hobbies. Let's see what else you might like in addition to working. Step two, start to use AI. Whether you've jumped head in like I have, or you're a little bit hesitant, let's talk about how you can break into it to reduce some of the time that you're spending on things without having to hire a big team. First things first, let's talk about the content that you put out there. Content helps with the visibility. The more visible you are, the easier it is to have clients, the less you're having to do extra marketing. It helps you break out of that cycle of going. Now, the cycle that I see a lot of people in is that they think, okay, I'm getting my clients or my students or whoever through marketing, and oh crap, I need to get more clients now. So they work to get more clients. And then they have more clients or more students, and they're like, oh crap, I need to focus on fulfillment. So then they spend a lot of time focusing on fulfillment. But then they get to the point where they're like, oh crap, I need to find more clients. And they're constantly in this cycle because, especially if you have a small team or you're not hiring a bunch of people, you're doing a lot of that on your own. You're doing a lot of that with a small team. And so to do all of those things yourself, you're obviously going to continue to be in this cycle, but AI helps you get out of that cycle. So what kind of content can you create, and what kind of process should you have when it comes to using AI for your content? We still want it to be valuable. We want it to be helpful and useful. And this is the best way I found to do it. Step one, you're going to record something, either a video or an audio, like I'm doing right now. Step two, after I have recorded this, the next thing that I'm going to do is get the transcripts. I use Descript to edit my videos, my audios, to take out filler words, to make a few tiny edits, and then also to add the studio sound. So once I've done that, I'm going to get the transcript. And that's really where the magic happens with AI. Next, you're going to upload the transcript. By that, I just copy and paste it. If it's over 10 minutes, you'll probably need to do multiple sections, at least at the time of this recording. Then ask it to write a LinkedIn article using the transcript, using that for your tone, your voice, your nuances. I like to also tell it who my audience is and what they want. And then I ask it to write a LinkedIn article. I ask it to write a blog post. I ask it to write my email copy, my social media post. Everything comes from that transcript. And so if you are able to start with an audio, start with a podcast, and then go from there, then perfect, you're golden. You have already shortcutted the time that it would take to create every single piece of that, which honestly, all of those different pieces, it could take a week, it could take a month, depending on what other things you have going on. But with AI, you can shortcut that. Yes, you'll still need to edit. Yes, you'll still maybe need to make some tweaks here and there, but because it's coming from your transcript, because it's coming from content you already made, because it's coming from what's in your head, it's going to be your words, your tone, your voice a lot faster. And so that means that you're saving time, you're saving money, and you're able to be visible and have those clients coming in much, much faster and much easier. All right, so we have content creation. What are some other ways that you can reduce your burnout, reduce how much you're doing in your business with AI? How about shortcutting the sales process? If sales calls are the bane of your existence, two tools that might help are Humantic AI and Crystal Knows AI. Oh, Crystal Knows. Both are AI tools that help you better understand the person that you're talking to, better understand their personality, and how to communicate with them. These are two tools that are definitely communication tools. They could also be tools that you use with your team as well. But essentially, what you do is you look a person up on LinkedIn and it'll tell you what it thinks that their personality is based on what kind of things that they post on LinkedIn. So it helps. Should you start right away? Should you jump into it right away with the information? Or should you chit chat back and forth a little bit at the beginning? If you're chit chatting back and forth with somebody that hates small talk, that hates that, then it's going to be harder to make that sale later on. So that's another way that you can use it and make more of the sales, assuming it's the right fit, instead of having to go through as many calls. Do you spend a lot of time on your customer service? Another thing that you can do using AI is to set up a Zap between Facebook, a spreadsheet, and OpenAI. And essentially what you do is, and I should say I have all of this in AI Copy Club too. So if you want to see breakdowns on how all of this works, I have that there. It's $9 a month, super affordable. And I'll put the link below. But essentially what you do is you connect Zapier. So you start with a Facebook post. So somebody posts a Facebook post in your group. And so what I found is, especially people that have larger groups, you get a lot of posts sometimes throughout the day, and it can be really freaking hard to keep track of everything. So what we do is the Facebook post happens, it automatically gets zapped into OpenAI, which then is requested to read what the post says and then create a response based on that post using your tone, your voice, all of that. From there, it gets zapped into a spreadsheet where you can just click on the permalink, copy and paste the OpenAI response, obviously edit it so that it sounds like you, so that it's accurate, so that it's what you want to say, and then get that in there. So that shortcuts the time in responding to people in Facebook groups if you use that as part of your business. Now, another thing you can do is help with your emails. So again, with Zapier, you can have it so that there is a new email that comes in, and then immediately as soon as that new email comes in that is within certain parameters, again, have this like really broken down in AI Copy Club, but within certain parameters, then it gets sent to OpenAI, who reads it and then creates that response. And then it gets put into a draft response. And so all you have to do, or somebody on your team, you can go in, look at it, make sure that's the thing that you would say back, edit it however you need to edit it, and then send it off. The goal isn't to take the human out of this. The goal is to help you be more efficient with the time that you have. Because if you're like me, you may not have a lot of time, and that's okay. This just helps shortcut that while still providing that customer experience and that customer service. And actually, what I found is I'm able to usually respond faster to people now because I'm not staring at this thinking, okay, what am I going to start with? For me, that's often the most challenging part is like, where am I going to start? Once I have those first few words on there, boom, forget about it. I'm done. But until then, it just feels a little overwhelming. And so if you've ever experienced that, that's another great way that you can use AI in your business to help reduce burnout and help reduce the amount of things that you're doing. And finally, the last thing I'm going to talk to you about on this one is using AI to plan your schedule. So a lot of times I have had a lot of things on my to-do list, like I do today. There's only one column, not the whole thing. Anyway, I have things on my to-do list and I'm like, okay, these things have to be done today. And it just feels like a lot. Or there's things that have to be done, things that'd be nice to get done. And when I think about how am I going to get all this done, it sometimes feels a little bit overwhelming. So I say to ChatGPT, hey, here's everything I need to get done. Here is just my normal kind of body algorithms. In other words, from 2 to 4 p.m., I am basically useless because I'm tired, my blood sugars dropped a little bit. And I know that if I'm going to try and do like hard thinking work at that time, it's just not going to happen. So what I do is I ask ChatGPT to create an optimal schedule for me based on everything I have to do, everything I want to do, everything that would be cool to do, but is not really necessary. And based on what I'm telling it about my normal ebbs and flows throughout the day, obligations that I have when I have to drop off my kiddo, pick her up, that kind of stuff. And so it creates a schedule for me that is more conducive to getting things done. Again, it's just something that I can take off my plate, can remove from my brain load for that day so that I can move faster. All right, now we've talked about some great ways you can use AI. And if this video is a little bit weird, I appreciate it. Your patience. It was my first time back doing some YouTube videos for a while. And sometimes when you do something for the first time in a while, it's not always great. So I appreciate you being here. And I hope that it encourages you to do something outside of your comfort zone or do something that you've been putting off for a while as well. That being said, if you need some extra resources on how to use these things, we have over 200 trainings in AI Copy Club. We do 2 live calls every month that are an hour long each so that you can ask questions and get unstuck if you get stuck. We have hundreds of prompts at this point. We have case uses like how do I use AI as a business coach? We also have recipes like how to run a challenge, a 7-day challenge using AI and the prompts for that as well. Plus a lot of other resources. All of that for $9 a month in AI Copy Club. Hope to see you in there. I'll talk to you soon.